get started tonight. Well, good evening. Yeah, we have enough microphones. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sandy McIntosh, and I'm with Rockwood 2000. Rockwood 2000 is a nonpartisan group, and we do community benefits and community beautification and educational events as well, such as this one. I want to give you a little bit of information about the format. It's questions that everybody might have presented, and then the moderator asks all the questions, and each candidate gets equal time to answer. You know, each one gets the same amount of time, so that's a good thing. And after our formal Q&A, we're going to have a 30-minute casual meet and greet. And that's nice because you can chat one-on-one. Hopefully that'll happen if we don't run out of time. I want to also take a moment to thank the candidates tonight for being here and also for their willingness to step up and serve. With that, I think it's time to introduce our moderator. It's Mr. Larry Brackett to get us started.
Okay, we're going off script, so I think we should work in the pledge, if everybody's okay with that. I ain't been in a meeting waiting at the pledge, so right here's the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, the first two are county executives. If Mr. Mullins and Mr. Cressel will come on up. Let me tell you a few rules. I know you know them already. You get 2 minutes to introduce yourself when I say, and then every time I ask you a question, she's going to tell me when the 2 minutes is up. I'm sure everybody can see her big, nice, kind stick. So when she raises that stick, you'll see it, but it's kind of my job to make sure you see it without being rude. So we will start with Mr. Mullins. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, and thank you for Rockwood 2000 putting on this event. This has been a very long campaign, and this is like the last forum we're going to have to go to, and we want to try to get our information out because early voting starts tomorrow, as you know, through the 30th and through the ends of May 5th, it will be the general election or for the primary. I'm a candidate in this race because I have visions that where I want to see Roane County work toward going. A lot of the visions that are about a lot of the talk that we've had about the nuclear renaissance and stuff coming to Roane County, I think that's wonderful. Anytime that we can bring new jobs into place and help support our tax base, I'm for that. One of the other visions that I have, and I do from the people who support me and the people who have encouraged me to speak about this, is that we want to do that growth, but we also want to maintain our way of living here in Roane County. Well, most of us, I'm in my 60s, and some of you are older, and some of you are younger. But we remember our Roane County the way that we grew up in, and we want to keep that type of lifestyle and our country style living. And the people that I represent and the people who asked me to run and the people who encouraged me, that's their vision, and that's what they want to safeguard. They want to make sure that we have the lifestyle and the freedoms and the liberties that we've enjoyed since Roane County was developed as a county. So with that, I would say thank you for being here, and I would appreciate your consideration during early voting and election day to be your next Roane County executive. And thank you all very much.
And thank you all for being here tonight. 3.5 years ago, you elected me really to do three main things. You elected me to grow the economy, to control spending, and to lead with transparency. And I'm proud to say that we've delivered on all three fronts. On growth, Roane County hasn't just grown, we've made history. We've recruited over 3,000 new good-paying jobs. We've secured $8.5 billion in capital investment, private capital investment. We've created the opportunity to create career opportunities for our kids and grandkids to stay right at home and have a six-figure career. And I'm hoping we'll get to talk more about that tonight. On spending, I want you to check receipts, go look at our budget books, go look at our audit reports that are on our website for the last 15 years. And what you'll see is that we not only controlled spending, but we've built surplus. The general fund last year, we had a $4.3 million surplus. It's helped us prevent a tax increase this year. We just approved 54 different budgets Friday as we work through our budget work, and I'm proud to report there'll be no tax increase this coming year either. And then on transparency, our response to that has been building a new website where every dollar spent, every video, every meeting in the county commission, tons of other information is available at your fingertips. We've worked to be as accessible and transparent as possible. We want to continue that momentum. I'm super excited to get to answer your questions tonight because there's a lot to talk about. And Mr. Brackett, I'll turn it over to you as we get started.
I'm going to ask this first question. We'll let Mr. Cresswell start first since you introduced first.
Sure.
It says, what are the most important pressing issues facing our county today?
Well, you're going to hear it a lot. You've heard it all, and if you've seen any other forums, is growth. And how do we manage growth? How do we shape growth? How do we sustain growth in a way that is we've worked for the last 3+ years through long-range planning, through planning commission, working with multiple committees, county commission, of course, is how do we shape growth in a way that does a couple different things. We have tremendous workforce needs that we're going to have to accommodate because companies have located right here. This is where they need to be for a good reason. They're going to continue to come here. We got to accommodate those workforce needs, but we don't want to change the quality of life that made this home for us. So how do we shape growth? We want to do that really through planning and zoning. And we have prepared our team. We have a new 5-person planning department. We have a brand new planner that started 2 weeks ago. We're beginning the process of future land use planning, updating our zoning regulations. That will involve your input. That's not a process. We just go to county commission and say, hey, here's a map. We want you to approve it. No, it's going to be working with you and our entire public to see what makes sense and what doesn't make sense and build that into a plan where we shape the growth of Roane County in a way that maintains our small town feel but accommodates our workforce needs. That's a needle that's going to be difficult to thread. That's exactly why I'm running to capitalize on the growth that we have created over the last term and help see that through over the next term.
Okay. Once again, I've said this at almost every forum that I've been at. I agree with Mr. Cresswell on a lot of issues, and some of the issues we don't agree with. The growth that is coming that is proposed to come. The issue that I have with that is that it's not really been publicized as what we are actually in for. And what's coming. There's been talks of, in lieu of taxes, there's been talk of tax abatements that would allow these billion-dollar companies to come here and set up shop and compete with business, but they will not be paying taxes. So that tax burden would probably fall on for infrastructure and emergency services needs on the people. And I don't think that we need to do that. The other thing is that as far as planning for housing and the growth that's going to be coming, I know there's growth that will be coming, and I know that we're going to need housing and other things. Some of the big issues that I'm faced with or I'm talked to about is that the type of growth that we're having. People like organic growth. They like smaller developments. We do not need to end up in a situation where we're like Lenore City. Lenore City has placed a moratorium on high-density housing. And they did that because they say we do not have the infrastructure. Well, in comparison, you will see that Loudoun County is about 25 or 30 years ahead in infrastructure than we are. The state of Tennessee has put out a report that there's over $600 million, we're in the hole $600 million as it relates to our infrastructure. We have to address that. That money has to come from somewhere. People are, am I through? Thank you.
Describe the ideal atmosphere of the county executive's office from 8:30 to 4:30.
Well, that's an open-ended question, but
I bet you give us an open-ended answer.
there you go. There you go, Larry. You got it, buddy. I would say that the Roane County government is a business, and it needs to be treated in a business-like manner. When work starts, work needs to start, and when it's time to quit, it's time to quit. I've been in construction for 40 years, prior to me being in law enforcement for several years, and I am a production guy. I'm a contractor. So I have to see results. I have to see things being done. If we talk about something, I don't like to go to a committee, to have a committee, to have a committee, to have a committee. Now I know there's several safeguards in place that we have all the elected officials who present their budgets that they need for their needs for the coming year. And I know that they take those requests to the budget committee, and the budget committee looks at that. And then we've got a fine county commission that is very intelligent, and they look at those things and they build the budget, and we have to work off that. And it's the county executive's job to kind of see that things are followed through in the way that all the elected officials and the county and the budget directors and the budget committees agree that's the right thing to do. So, like I said, I'm a production guy. I have to see production going on. I like to see growth. I like to see people that have a job do that job. I don't like to see duplication of services. If we've got 5 people doing one job and we can get by with 2, I'm for doing that. We need to do things in a business-like, cost-effective, and professional mannerism. Thank you.
Well, 8:30 to 4:30 is pretty confined because a day never stops. The job is 365, 24/7. It never, ever stops. I'm in the office most days, even weekends. But if we're going to talk about 8:30 to 4:30, first of all, as my team may have put this question in here for me to brag on them, but the ideal atmosphere involves all of our team members there collectively working together. It's a family type atmosphere that we try to create, supportive, where we're able to tackle the day as it presents itself, and every single day is completely different. No 2 days are alike. You're going to face challenges, questions, problems from every direction you can imagine every day. And you got to have a team that is capable, professional, compassionate, and caring for one another to be able to solve problems in a timely way in the face of people who are lots of times frustrated with the way government works. And that's the daily challenge. And so to have a team that can pull together, you see it on the back of my shirts, pulling together so we can push forward. We live that. It's not just a campaign slogan. It is a theme. It's an approach to our lives as servants for you all. And that's what we get up and try to do every day. Then at 4:30, maybe that might be when the whistle blows and people get to go home. But the day doesn't stop then. It never stops. The work never stops because the needs never stop. So we're committed to making sure that we're serving you as well as we possibly can in a compassionate way that moves the county forward for you.
Would you support a school building program for our county?
That is a short question. Let me say this, and Mr. Brackett, it's ironic that you're asking me this because we've been working together on this. So 3 years ago, actually a little bit over 3 years ago, the Long Range Planning Committee for County Commission came together, and we committed to doing long-range planning. Literally, I had a commissioner come to me on day one, and he said, "What do you want to be known for in this job?" I said, "It's not a real sexy answer." I said, "But if I can change Roane County's vision from being right here in front of our nose to looking down the road to solve problems, that'll do more for us than anything else I can do." And so in December of 22, we drafted a letter to the Roane County School Board that asked them to join us in long-range planning. So we The county commission went through that through the Long Range Planning Committee, came up with a strategic plan. It's on our website now. And we've continued to work with school board. And then I think in January, they hired a firm called MGT. They went through a process and determined who the best firm would be and hired them to do exactly that, long-range capital improvement planning. And the point of that is to do a facilities condition assessment of all of our schools, look at our future workforce needs, look at our current educational dynamics and how things are changing, where it's moving to. And we'll come back with a recommendation to the school board in the fall. I expect that the school board will vote on something in that time frame, fall, winter, and it will bring something to county commission shortly thereafter. My role in all that has been in finding the funds to help us build whatever it is we're going to build. Timer, yes, would you tap? Yeah, they're 12 seconds. To help us build without a tax increase when it comes time, when the school board brings something to county commission. That's been my focus. That'll continue to be my focus.
Okay. Roane County has a very capable director of schools, Mr. Russell Jenkins. He and his team, this is on their mind daily, what they can do to make our school system better. And the bottom line is, our children in this county are our future. And if we don't prepare for them for life, then we're hurting them. So what Mr. Cresswell said about the studies that are going on are true. I think that they have allocated some funding to have this study done. And I believe that we have to look at their recommendations, really what needs to be done, and then we have to find a way to fund this without raising taxes. And if we can make that happen, that's the greatest thing for all of us. But the county executive role in the school systems is basically to help with funding, help with budgets, and do whatever. The school system and the school board, they make these recommendations on what they need and what they would like to see happen. And these are very well-educated people who understand their needs and what's best for the children. And as county executive, I would more than be happy to listen to anything they got, and I would wholeheartedly support any decision that they made that was in the best interest of Roane County and their school system.
What plans do you have for community engagement and transparency?
Well, first of all, we have looked at, and it's a very good question, we have looked at, we have commissioners that represent every district. And people have the right and the obligation, if they have a question about anything that's going on in their county government, that's why they elect these representatives in their district to help them out. But in addition to that, we have talked about forming an advisory committee that would be totally citizen-based, and to have these people that if they have concerns in their community, or and we would want to have someone represented from each part of Roane County, Rockwood, Harriman, Kingston, Oak Ridge, south of the river, Midway area, and have these people to have input if they have a question. We want to have what we want to do, we want to have an open door policy where people can come to the county executive office and they can express their concerns, and to be completely honest with them about our finances, what we can do for the county, for the school systems, whatever we can do to help anyone who's a resident of this county. So the short answer is that as far as transparency goes, have records available if someone wants to know what's going on or to keep them updated. And there's been some talk about school boards not publishing some of their meetings. I think that we should work on making the meetings that we have more transparent and make it easier for people who might have disabilities to come into those meetings and to participate. And So transparency is a big deal, and I think that we may have some shortfalls in that area, and I would like to work to see that would be cleared up. Thank you.
Transparency is really all about communication. I had an opportunity to work when I worked at Oak Ridge National Lab for 3 years in the communications division about what it takes to be intentional about communication, how challenging it always is for every organization on the planet. Communication is one of the top challenges for any business. And so when I came in, we knew day one that being as intentional as we could about communication was one of our primary goals. And again, get back to it from my opening statement, I talked about building a new website that makes sure that we put as much information, making it as user-friendly and accessible as we possibly could. That continues. That will always evolve to continue to try to find ways that make it easy for you to find what you're looking for. It's one of the most frustrating things that the public expresses to us that we are constantly trying to evolve is I'm trying to find this and it's difficult. People don't engage with the government usually because they want to. They engage usually because they have to in some way. And we want to make that as easy as possible. And so it's a constant challenge to try to do that. Ways we have done that, ways we want to continue to improve, things like we've added the capability to do online permitting in our codes office. We've added the capability to reserve spaces at Roane County Park so you can reserve pavilions. I know that you may not classify it as transparency, but it is ways of making government more accessible and user-friendly to you. And in so doing, you experience government in a way that it leads to engagement, that leads to, I'm out of time. Anyway, leads to a more friendly experience with us working back and forth, and I want to continue to try to improve that.
Thank you. Mr. Creswell,
Yes, sir.
what are your strategies for economic development?
I spent 5 years as president of the Roane Alliance. Economic development got in my blood, and when I came into this job, it was the number one thing I wanted to work on. It was the number one thing I felt like at the time we were challenged with, because we had been stuck in a stagnant economy for decades. And if we were ever going to be able to accomplish the things that have held us back for those decades, like build schools or expand services and programs and things that people wanted government to provide in their lives, it was going to require us to grow our economy. And we have done that in historic ways. There's not a county in the United States that wouldn't trade places with the numbers that we have produced in the last 3.5 years. Again, I'll say it one more time, over 3,000 new good-paying jobs and $8.5 billion of capital investment. Those aren't made-up numbers. Those are all numbers announced by Governor Bill Lee, who came to Roane County, or Commissioner Stuart McWhorter, who came to announce those. So my strategies for economic development are first and foremost to make sure that those companies that have announced are taken care of, that their needs are met, and they're firmly planted here, because those are all OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, that lead to Tier 2 and Tier 3 supply chain companies. That leads to other growth. That's not just a Roane County growth issue, or Roane and even Anderson County. That is a regional strategy that it will require to support the OEMs that we have recruited here. That means we're going to have to work with our regional partners, regional stakeholders across the Oak Ridge Reservation, with the governor's office, even with our congressional delegation, to ensure success right here continues. We have a tremendous opportunity right here, and if we had a change in leadership, we would risk losing that momentum.
So there's all this talk about this nuclear renaissance, and if there has deals been made to get these companies to come here, I will honor those agreements. And it's not only this nuclear renaissance and the jobs that they claim here. I don't know what those jobs are, but I would love to see that. But we also have to keep in mind that we have industrial parks that are empty. And not only do we need to go after these nuclear positions that are supposed to be headed our way, we also need to find ways to recruit other businesses to ensure that there are already existing business parks or industrial parks can get tenants that will come here and build and even create more job opportunities for the people in the county. So I would work hard with the Industrial Development Board, the Roane Alliance, or anyone who has any ideals that would help benefit the county as far as growth, as far as bringing in new jobs, and to secure jobs that would be high-paying to where we would not have to have any kind of tax increase. I am 100% pro non-raising taxes. It would be a do-or-die situation before I would even consider that. So our economic development just doesn't stop at what's coming to Oak Ridge. I know it's a big talk, it's a big topic, but we have other business. We have empty businesses in Rockwood, in Harriman, in Kingston. Buildings are empty. We have industrial parks that are not full. We need to not just forget about those. We need to bring those people back into the community. Thank you.
How will you address the local housing issues?
Local housing issues. So I am pro-growth. If I said that I wasn't, I would be a hypocrite. I build subdivisions for a living, and I build infrastructure. And so I am for growth. But growth had to be managed and maintained where, like I was saying earlier, Loudoun County has grown so much in the last 20 years that they have outgrown themselves, and they've stopped building. The main complaint or suggestion that I get from people throughout the county that I've spoken with is that they're more concerned about the high-density housing in the rural areas. And the existing infrastructure that we have will not support that. Now, as county executive, I can present 40 years of experience of building infrastructures. I'm a certified TDOT contractor where I built state highways and county highways and even local roads. So my experience in doing that, and we're going to need a lot of infrastructure development in this county. If it continues to grow, we have to do that. And we have to do that in a way that is does not infringe on anyone's property rights or their liberties. It's been maybe a year ago that Roane County was adding a road for a business that was recruited by the county, I'm assuming, to the industrial park out in East Roane County. I noticed that there was an issue where that they could bid this job in a certain way that would help save the county thousands of dollars. I went to Mr. Cresswell and told him that, and he used my advice, and it ended up saving the county thousands of dollars. That's what I bring to the county. Thank you.
I'm going to assume there's a little bit different take to that question, and that it's probably about pricing. So I'm going to tackle the question from that angle. That in the last 6 years, we've seen almost an exponential increase in home prices, and that's not a Roane County exclusive Roane County issue. That's of course an issue, particularly in the southern United States, certainly in this state. And it is really a result of simple economics: is supply and demand. We've seen significant net inward migration in Roane County, and that has led to a decrease, well, not a decrease in our inventory, but available inventory is almost zero. There are very few homes available, and when supply is low and demand is high, prices go up. And that's the situation that we face. There's really only a couple of solutions to that. You can decrease demand, and decreased demand comes with a lot of other challenges to it, like decreased revenue. And if we're in an era of inflation and everything costs more, just like it does in our own personal lives, it's the same thing for government. Things cost more. When you're in an era of inflation, you can't have a decrease in revenue, or that's going to lead to the one thing that we don't want, which is an increase in taxes. So you can only really achieve or accomplish the housing pricing issue by increasing your supply. You have to increase supply. That goes back to a previous question where we're talking about how to manage or shape growth. So we can do that through planning and zoning by encouraging or promoting growth where it makes sense, where we're not going to push back on as a people, where there's already highways, already infrastructure, already traffic patterns in place to do so, and then discourage growth where it doesn't make sense, where in highly agricultural or historic areas, we can help shape growth through zoning to do those kind of things, and in so doing, hopefully increase our supply housing and stabilize the housing market.
Assuming you're in favor of Roane County growing, what kind of growth would you support for the next 5 to 10 years? And how would you achieve that growth?
A lot of different ways to answer this. Shaped, controlled growth. Again, planned in a way where our people can come to some sort of compromise. There's going to be tension, there's going to be friction, there's going to be growing pains as we get through this. And it's unavoidable. You see this in every community that grows. But in a way that we can agree that makes sense for all of us. We don't want to lose our small town feel. I grew up in Kingston. I'm a Kingston guy. Sorry, Rockwood friends. But that small town feel is what we all want to maintain. Kingston, Harriman, Rockwood, Midway, Oliver Springs. I think we can all agree on that. And then, of course, the rural areas as well. At the same time, again, we have to accommodate a significant workforce demand coming our way. We have incredible workforce development programs that start right here at home. The partnerships that Roane State and TCAT Harriman have with our DOE contractors, with our new companies that we've recruited, are world leading. So we have opportunities to put our people in the best jobs and careers in the world. One of the main reasons we're doing this is to give our kids a shot at six-figure careers and be able to stay right here at home. Those are the opportunities that we want to provide, and at the same time, protect our small town quality of life. Those are, again, I use the analogy, threading the needle, but it really is. That's going to require significant, consistent work on a daily basis to make sure that we can get us to those goals. And I'm committed to doing that. I have been and I will be. It will be a daily focus moving into the next term.
Okay, but the first thing that we have to do is we have to guarantee that we do not infringe on the lifestyles and the liberties of the people who live in this county. So, for instance, if I'm not going to use the Lumber Road community, it's been beat to death, but we'll just take any community that's of some sort of size, and there may be a 50 or 60 acre tract in that land, and the development that land would be good for development. But if the people in that area doesn't want that, I believe that one of the ways that we could work through this is to put this to a referendum and let these people decide if they want that to come in. There are a lot of areas that are not agriculture or overpopulated that where growth could be established, but that would require us to look at our infrastructure situation, and then from there we have to have the funding. We have to see who's going to fund. I would like to see if we have a developer come in, any developer who comes in to build a subdivision or to change the demographics of the county, if there's going to be a capital need for infrastructure, I think that they should be the ones to put up the money to help build that, and do not put this tax burden or the burden of providing that infrastructure on us, the taxpayers. These are the people who are coming in, who are making the cash money and leaving, and they leave the homes, and we're going to be the ones that are going to be supporting the infrastructure. And the infrastructure not only includes water, sewer, gas, electric, and roadways, it also includes our sheriff's department, our ambulance service. We have to have fire protection. Right now, one of the greatest detriments to our county is that our fire departments are not funded well. Thank you.
I'll give you yours first. They were asked individually, so I will ask them individually. What experience do you have that best qualifies you for this office?
I was a police officer for 16 years in this county. I started out at the very bottom, and I worked my way out to assistant chief of police in Kingston. During my tenure there, I managed men. I've looked at every year. I was participated in doing the budget. For the last 34 years, I have owned a business, and we do commercial work mainly, and we try to look at the business range. Our business model where we feel most comfortable is doing work in the $3 to $5 million range. So it's a juggling act to keep a business afloat. I made it through the downfall of 2008. That's a testimony to my abilities right there. I have to budget money to pay payroll. I have to, and I don't, if I run out of payroll money, I don't have OPM. I don't have other people's money that says, here you go, make your payroll sweep. I've never missed a payroll in 40 years that I've been doing grade work. I have maintained, I've bought millions of dollars of equipment with my credit, and I've paid those debts off. I have paid tremendous amount of insurance. And if you add all this up, it evolves around taking care of your own money, because there's no one to fall back on to the government or say, hey, we're going to bail you out. So my experience in managing a business and performing a business product and producing a product and working on production and having a very clean and reputable business. My work that I do is I'm very proud of. It's impeccable work that I do. I take a lot of pride in the work I do, and thank you, Wally.
What one accomplishment during your current term are you most proud of, and why?
One. I mean, the easiest one to point to, I'll go ahead and point to the easiest one in the most public probably, but there are a lot of private ones that really wouldn't make a lot of sense to the audience because they're about building culture and team and what we've been able to do in ways. But so again, get back to the point of the question. What we've done in economic development and the role I've played in a central role in a couple of those key projects is honestly something that is the envy across the state of Tennessee. You'll hear some of our commissioners talking when you talked to them a few minutes ago, is Roane County is on the map in the state of Tennessee when it comes to economic development. That was extremely intentional. That wasn't accidental. That took a lot of work. It took a lot of working to unify across multiple geographic and political boundaries that put us in a position to win projects that we never would have won otherwise. And because we've won these projects, we have the opportunity to do something in this county that we haven't been able to do in our lifetimes. We have the opportunity to invest in schools and in infrastructure as we have to accommodate growth. We have the opportunity to invest in law enforcement and first responder services. We have the opportunity to invest in programs that make a difference in the quality of life for our people that we otherwise would not have the opportunity to do if we hadn't grown our economic base. So I will say that that is my proudest accomplishment.
Okay, what is your practice for managing, mentoring, motivating a strong and excited team to lead our county?
Oh,
Last one's the hardest.
it is the hardest. It's not just the hardest question. It's actually not the hardest question. It is the hardest task. Human resource issues, as anyone who's managed people can tell you, is always the most challenging part of running any business, any organization, any operation. It's simply because people are people everywhere you go. It doesn't matter what part of the world. It doesn't matter what industry sector it is. People are people. And we all deal with the same stuff. We all bring our personal lives into our daily performance. And when you are leading an organization and you're setting a vision and a direction and expectations and standards and building a culture that you are setting it as an example, and doing that in a formal way, when people don't meet those standards, then it's a difficult challenge to correct course for those employees, or if they are exceeding those standards, to make sure that you're adequately thanking them and recognizing them in such a way that they feel valued. That is a constant, never-ending challenge to any leadership position. So what was I lost the point of the question again, Mr. Brackett. What was the point of the question? We're talking about human resources, but managing people, motivating.
On HR, okay?
Yeah. And we'll get through.
Practice and managing, mentoring, motivating.
Practice and managing.
That's strong team.
So it's in a relationship business. You have to invest in relationships. That's time. That's spending time with your people. It's understanding where they're coming from. It's understanding what they're dealing with. It's helping them overcome their challenges that help either make them successful or are holding them back. It really is investing time in people, and that's a difficult challenge when you've got a lot of tasks you've got to accomplish as well. But it is probably it's one of the most important things that we work on.
What are your practices for managing, mentoring, and motivating a strong team excited to lead our county?
Like I said earlier, the Roane County government is a business. It needs to be run like a business. In my business experience, I lead by example. Many times I have guys that work for me, they say, "Why do you work so hard?" I'm not a guy that sits in a pickup truck and points a finger and say, "Get this done, get this done." I get it done. So I lead by example. So in mentoring those people, they see what a leader looks like. They see that I have to make a profit to stay in business. And when I make a profit to stay in business, they're in business and they have a job. So leading by example, setting the workplace environment to be non-confrontational, to be acceptant of the things that we cannot control. There's people have personal issues where they can't make it to work. They're sick, and people take advantage of that sometimes. So sometimes you have to work with people and to ensure that everything runs smooth. But the biggest thing that I can say, and I believe it wholeheartedly, is that you show up for work, you do your job, and when people see you working, they'll follow. And if you have people that do not carry their weight and their dead weight, you can look at those people and say, "Look, this is how we do things." And if they don't do that, and if they don't want to comply, then they don't need to work there. Like I said, I will reiterate time and time and time again, I am about production. I have to see people produce a product. I have to see work going on. I don't like to see people sitting around at their desk, playing solitaire, not doing their job. So I am very pro hands-on, and I like to lead by example. And my time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I will say to all in the audience, no matter who you support, if you're in front of this crowd tonight, you have the heart of a public servant, which is to be commended either way you go. So thank both of you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, the first thing I will say is we know County Commissioner like to talk. And we'll have to hold to the 2 minutes pretty strong. There are 5 of us. I have some questions. And we will get 2 minutes to introduce yourselves. And I will start with Mr. Taylor.
Hello, I'm Brian Taylor. I'm obviously going for one of the commissioner spots in our district. I'm going to make it short because I know that a lot of people are talking. So just about me, I'm married. I have 3 children. Next year, all 3 of them will be at different Roane County schools. I'll have one in high school, one in middle school, and one in elementary school. So I have a definite vested interest in the school system. I've been a police officer for 25 years. Currently, I work for Roane State Community College Police Department. I was a certified EMT for several years, and I volunteered at a local ambulance service. I have served on a fire protection district board for 2 years. It was an appointed position that I was asked to do, so I have a little bit of experience dealing with that. Otherwise, I mean, I'm a small government, low tax, personal freedom kind of guy. I know Roane County's going to have some stuff coming up, a lot of growth, a lot of infrastructure issues. Obviously, the school system's a big one as well, but I'm sure we'll get into that with the questions, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, okay, we're just gonna go right down the line here.
Cool. Hey, good evening. From the top of Rockwood Mountain to the banks of Watts Bar. This is the community where I grew up. Met my wife, raised my family here. Chris Lehman, I'm asking for your vote for Roane County Commission for my second term. I'm a lifelong resident of Rockwood. My wife Jean and I met at Rockwood High School. Carried her mama's groceries out at CB Grocery Store working for Randy's daddy down there a long time ago. Jean and I are both proud graduates of Rockwood High School. Been married for 29 years. We built our homes, raised our son here, right here in District 1 Rockwood. You might even remember my son Jake carrying your groceries out to IGA here in Rockwood. Jake's got a beautiful wife, our daughter-in-law Casey, 2 beautiful children. Mine and Gina's only grandchildren, Landry Brooke, Cooper Allen. Jake and Casey's made their home in Rockwood here and plans to raise their family here as well. I wouldn't be the person I am today without my parents, Carl and Joanne Lehman. They raised me with a deep respect for hard work, do what you say you're going to do, serve others. It took me a while to see that later in my life. I saw that dedication in my dad. He only had one job. Started Hammer Motor Company, which later became Jerry Duncan Ford. He retired after 44 years. My mom raised my 2 brothers, myself, as a school cafeteria worker. And we got out of school, she quit, went to work for her brother's restaurant here in town, Juniors. When community calls, we're called to serve. I serve my church. I plan to continue to serve my community, whether it's a need of a neighbor needing help. I try to be the guy to put my boots on and tend to lend a listening ear to the community. I've got over 36 years in the nuclear industry, managing Department of Energy projects over 3 time zones. 100 professional union craft employees. I assure you, I fully understand work just ain't about a 9-to-5 job or work ends when the doors are locked at the end of the shift. I serve the people that I work for. I've served the people that I work with, and I get to do life with them. I want to continue to serve our community any way I can. Appreciate your voting.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Randy Kirby. Been married 53 years, got 1 child, 4 grandkids, 1 great-grandchild. It's been an honor to sit on this commission. I can't take credit for all of it. It's the working commission, and I continue to work with them. I retired to City of Rockwood Fire Department as first responder. I'm not here to promise you a rainbow. I can't do that. But I promise I'll go to bat for every individual that's in my district. And if you ever need anything, I'll be there. And I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. My name's Tony Kofer. I'm worked at Roane Medical Center for 43 years in the materials and purchasing department there. I've raised 2 kids here in Rockwood, lived in Rockwood for 40-something years now. I thought coaching ball was rough, but this politics is rougher. You got to have some tough skin to do this. But I've enjoyed it, made some good friends here, I hope. And once again, my name's Tony Kofer. I appreciate your vote and support. Thank you.
Did I get the unused time from all of them?
No. 1 minute.
Ron Berry, and I've been fortunate enough to serve as a commissioner here for about 14 years, on and off. I came to Rockwood in 1970, fresh out of the United States Marine Corps, where I'm proud to still be a Marine. I still try to do my push-ups every morning and try to stay in shape. This community's been really good for me. I had with Burlington, I got transferred. I had an office in New York. First opportunity I had to come back to Rockwood, I chose it and came back here because this is where I wanted to raise a family. My son was 2 years old when we moved back. This is a great place to live, folks. I don't have to tell you that. It's the most wonderful spot. If you look at growth, I can take you back to serving on the water and gas and sewer board, and Crystal Cove folks came up, and they wanted to build Blue Green, wanted to build a facility there. That was our first really look at the outside world in terms of Rockwood. A few years later, we had Grand Vista Bay. If we were worried about growth and all of that stuff, we wouldn't have Grand Vista Bay. We wouldn't have these folks. I'm here to tell you tonight on behalf of the folks of Rockwood, I don't think I'm wrong. Bring it on. We'll take your growth. We've got plenty of growth there here. Sitting on the utilities, I'm proud of our utilities in this county. If you'd have said 10 years ago that infrastructure was a real problem, you would have been right. We've got more 6-inch water lines going out into the county now. We've got gas lines going everywhere. We've got sewer lines going, and if you bring sewer lines in, growth follows sewer lines. It's been said that our county was a small business. Folks, it's a big business. It's a $161 million business. That's big time to me. Now, that some may call it small, but that's a big business. I'm happy to have served. I'm happy to be a part of this administration that we have now. Our folks from our accounting department, we get good information for our budget. We're working on our budget now. Our county leaders have all been great. Thank you.
We'll start with Mr. Berry. He's fired up.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Okay. What one part of county government would receive more attention if you are elected?
Well, I think you got to go back to infrastructure. That's where we've got to continue branching out. If you'd have said 20 years ago that Southwest Point Golf Course was going to turn into a huge development, people would have said it can't happen. That's the kind of things that are happening. The sewer line running down Highway 58. Those small farms are going to get sold off. People can be just like it was at Grand Vista Bay. They can't turn down what developers are willing to pay. We're in a situation now where developers pay for infrastructure. So when we come to their property line with water lines, gas lines, sewer lines, they're taking it on inside, and they're buying that material. They're buying the labor and stuff to do that. So we've got lots of opportunities to grow. We can do it well, but we also are going to have to ask people that, hey, if this is your land and you want to sell, your neighbors, we're not going to find every place that we can do this. We're going to find particular places that we can go. We've got a long planning commission that are looking at that right now. Mayor Kreffel put that in about 3 years ago. That's working out well. But infrastructure is probably the one place. Economic development. I need to find out where our empty spots are on the industrial parks, because we're just right now getting ready to buy more land at the Roane Regional Park. We've got a few left in the Rockwood Industrial Park, but we're running out of land, and we're going to have to look for more land on our industrial park. And the thing about our industries that are coming in now, Malibu boats. Malibu boats are in our industrial park, guys. That's a national brand boat that we're getting built right now in Roane County, Tennessee. If you go look, there are people all over this country that stop me and ask me, what's going on in Roane County, Tennessee? There's a lot going on in Roane County, Tennessee. We're no longer a little sleepy county. We're looking for growth. Ask the merchants in our downtowns if they'll take growth. That's what drives this forward, and that's what we've got to continue to do. Thank you.
Well, I also agree with Mr. Berry, infrastructure, but I kind of disagree some. I, for one, believe in agriculture. I farm, hobby farm, as some want to call it. We do have to have growth of homes in our county, but we have to do it at a pace that is not overwhelming to us. Not that... trust me, the land is there. I understand the offers, the money. It's unreal what it is compared to farming. But I love the rural community, the small town feel, but we have to have the growth. So I'm not sure of how you come up with that, but that is my main concern, is just not too fast. Like up here in Knoxville, off the interstate at the weigh scales, you can open your window and ask the neighbor to pass you the bread next door. They're so close. I would just hate to see that happen here in Roane County. That's it.
I think probably people like what Rod said, infrastructure is a big thing. Planning, that's probably what's going to make this county, is making this county grow. We got a good planning commission. We got good department heads and straight working with them. But growth is the biggest thing for this county, and that's what everybody needs to realize. For its growth, that's what keeps our taxes. And that's what it's all about, is to give the best services that we can for what the tax dollar can afford. Thank you.
So the infrastructure and the growth is great, but unfortunately, those of us, I think 4 of us sitting up here live in the rural communities outside of the city limits. Although Tennessee's a volunteer state, we are not seeing the volunteers step up in our volunteer fire departments. I rely on a volunteer fire department if I have an emergency situation at my house, and that currently is a huge deficit in this county across all the cities. We, as a full 15-member commission, with the county mayor, have to come up with a plan, either have to fund, help, assist to be able to have a better responding fire departments to our individual communities.
Infrastructure, it's a common theme, it's what everybody's talking about, but that is it. And when I say infrastructure, I don't mean, again, just water and sewer. I'm talking about first responders, I'm talking about EMS, fire, sheriff's department. These are things that have to keep up. If they don't keep up, we're going to have problems. With growth, more people coming, people from out of state, out of county, out of town. When they show up, they bring their problems with them. And there's going to be an increased call volume. There's going to be more calls for the sheriff's department. There's going to be more fire calls. There's going to be more EMS calls. We need to have proper funding so where they have all the equipment they need, all the training they need, and the support that they're going to need. That would be my biggest priority.
Do you plan to promote any changes to existing taxes? And if so, why would you do that?
Oh, that's an easy one. No new taxes. Read my lips, if you remember that. Like I said earlier, I'm a low tax, small government, personal freedom guy. I believe the government exists to provide core services, the safety, health, and well-being of the citizens. They don't need to be getting involved in things that they were never intended to be involved in. Therefore, you don't need extra money because you're not spending it on things that you're not supposed to be spending it on. It sounds like, from everything I've been told and everything that I've seen, we're in a really good spot, and it's going to potentially get a lot better. I don't see any reason whatsoever for any taxes to be going up anytime soon.
Everybody in this room, even us 5 up here, we're the same. We're taxpayers. Nobody wants their taxes to go up, and they should not have to go up. These businesses coming into Oak Ridge, we will eventually start seeing the tax revenue from these companies. Will we see it immediately? Absolutely not. We will reap the rewards in the future for it. How do we manage and budget that now is the thing we have to get over the next 5 years. But no new taxes.
I'm like the rest of them, no new taxes. And that's one thing I can say about this full commission. There's not been no tax increase the 4 years I've been on there, and I hope it stays that way. Thank you.
Absolutely not. Pay enough now. But to keep taxes low, and that goes back to infrastructure with homes here, but at a pace that we can keep up with as a county. Thank you.
Not only no new taxes, let's lower the taxes. Let's lower what we've got right now, and that's what we're after doing. As a member of the Budget Committee, we're starting next year to start getting some income from the companies that we're talking about. And yes, did the state help in structuring how these companies are getting here? They did. I think the fact the state made the largest single investment in Orano that's been in the history of Tennessee. We've kept that for about 3 weeks. Montgomery County got a new industry in that had $6 billion. So we lost it. We're going to go now after a new one and do the record again. But we'll have more revenue coming in. That revenue also goes to the fire departments. We've got a that's a real task. That probably is the biggest task that faces us right now, is our fire protection. Also, as we move forward, we're going to put that money aside. I passed a resolution 2 years ago that said even our interest money is going aside. We're going to put it in capital. We're not going to operate off of it, because when you do that, and that money runs out, then you're in real trouble. We did that back in the 70s, and it came back to bite us. So we're already doing that. We've got about $5 million in an account now. The schools have done the same thing, and together, you know, we're getting ready for down the road, which we weren't ready for the last time the issue came up, and there was a 38-cent tax increase. This time there'll be no tax increase, and we'll fund those things that we've got, like jail. We're very lucky right now in this county to have the sheriff's department give us back about 8% of their budget that they don't spend. That's money that gets kicked over to next year. We're very lucky for a lot of our departments that do that kind of stuff. So we're very lucky in the county having that to do, and we're moving into a position that we're going to be really fortunate in Roane County. It's going to continue to be not only the best place to live, but it's going to be one of the cheapest places to live.
Would you support a school building program for our county?
I move we adjourn. That's a question that I think in 1989 the Roane County News headlines was build 1 or 2. That's how long this has been going on. Again, I think we're poised to do whatever the school board wants us to do. The school board is totally charged with planning a school and deciding what type of school, where that location is going to be. And when they bring that to the county commission, then it's up to us to fund it. I think, again, just as I mentioned earlier, we're much better positioned now than we've ever been because we've been putting money aside in capital for this day to come. And this day is coming. I mean, guys, if you look at our schools are all over 50 years old. We've got to do something, and the school board is looking at that. We're getting to a point, I think right now in the 7th grade, if you're a 7th grader right now, you stand an opportunity when you graduate to be the first graduating class that can stay in this county and make over $100,000 a year. That's huge. There's not many counties that can say that. But we've also, not only is it the money involved, it's getting these kids ready. It's getting them ready to be nuclear technicians and all of the problems that go with that. So if we do that, and we do what we're supposed to be doing, and the schools are doing a great job with that. Our vocational training is much better than it was 3 years ago, and we're generating a lot of money over that because of the state sees the same value in vocational training. We've got a new vocational school out at Roane State with a middle college going on. We have in place the educational opportunities to go with our kids being able to stay at home and make a good living.
The question was support one school, correct?
But you can answer that too. Would you support a school building program for our county?
Yes. I don't know that one school is the correct way, but yes, we need some new schools in Roane County. There's a bunch of smart kids in Roane County, and schools have done great, but we need to do a little better. I've experienced this personally with my own kids that had to leave high school and go to Roane State to take extra classes because Rockwood could not offer them for a handful of students to take. So yes, we have to come up with a way to better educate them. And once she got to college, she told me that she was behind all the others there from big schools around Tennessee on that. And it was all because we did not have the teachers and the facilities here to teach them as they should be. So yes.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk?
Yes, I support it. It's all about the kids, Mr. Bracken. And we got 3 nuclear plants that's fixed to be built in Roane County. And they need education to work there. And yes, I will support it. It's all about the kids. Thank you.
Absolutely, we'll support it. There's a lot of different ideas being passed around right now with Roane State being under State Board of Regents, and then county government, county schools. Is how could you make a feeder class of junior high or high school students going into Roane State Community College early, whether it's 1 campus high school, 2 campus high schools. My personal belief, some people may not like it, but I'm entitled my own opinion, until we drop the brands of a Tiger, a Yellow Jacket, or a Blue Devil, we will never have a county school system that'll benefit the children instead of us older people.
Yes, I would. There needs to be cooperation with the school board. There has to be, it has to be a joint venture. The commission doesn't need to take it on by themselves. They're not the school board. But yeah, they're, like everyone else has said, you have schools that offer classes that other schools in the county don't offer. All of the students that go to high school in Roane County should have equal opportunity to take the same classes if they choose to. There needs to be an increased shop, industrial arts classes. There's a lot of need. So with all the extra money that could potentially be coming in, it sounds like there's a real possibility that we can make this happen without tax increases. So there'd be no reason not to do it.
The main question is whether or not the commissioners maintain a checklist of verifications before they hand over money to nonprofit organizations. The Roane County Rescue Squad, South of the River Volunteer Fire Department, both were investigated by State Comptroller's Office. Otherwise, there is a high risk of missing money. That's the question.
Well, I mean, I'm not really in a position to answer that because I'm not on the commission currently, so I don't really know. But I'm sure that there is some type of checks and balances. I'm sure there's a record, a money trail, if you will, that you can follow. You might be able to answer that better than I.
Yeah. So I currently sit on nonprofit committee now, sat on it last year, and we implemented a new policy last year of how to better qualify individuals seeking nonprofit funding through the county. Yes, there was individual entities that were investigated, I think came back as no fault findings, but were investigated. But the program we put into place in the last budget cycle, we feel as a commission has remedied any issues associated with that question.
Thank you.
There is a committee set for this type thing, and like I say, Mr. Lehman sits on it. And before the commission ever votes on anything, it has to go through their whatever committees that they're asking for. And that's what's been good about this commission and the commission working together. The board comes to the commission and asks for a vote. They recommend or don't recommend it. So before I said I would ever give money to anybody, it's going to be passed by that board. Thank you.
I'm going to agree with Mr. Taylor. I'm not on the committee, so I don't know how to answer that, but I would think that every one of them has looked into what they're voting money for and surely checking into it every once in a while to make sure it has been going to where it's allocated to.
The commission several years ago allocated one penny. Now we've capped that penny at $150,000 for nonprofits. And Mr. Lehman sits on that committee again, and they did a good job. Last year, we had to look at it again because we were making sure that we had the proper categories covered more than others that needed it. So we put a point system in now for categories depending on what field your nonprofit was working on. And to the point of the entities that had trouble, we actually took money away from one of the entities and paid their rent out of the commissions so that we had control of that money until they got their situation straightened out. That is straightened out now. Nonprofits play a big part in our community, and we certainly want to help those. The food pantries in the past couple of years have really needed help. We've made sure that they got help. Other organizations that have come to the nonprofit, they come to a meeting and present their proposal, and then the committee meets, and then the committee brings it back to us. So we're all on top of the nonprofit as per se, and we may have to look at emptying that because there are more and more nonprofits every year asking for money. But it's a good process now, and they've tweaked it, and it's only going to get better as we go along.
That is the last question I had for county commissioners. So let me reiterate every time, these are public servants. No matter who you support, this is a hard job. Politicking is probably harder than farming. He's right. So, good job, y'all. Thank you.
Could you make sure,
You do one that's necessary.
just make sure that they know that they can vote for 3. We got 5 running for 3 seats. Early voting starts tomorrow, 9 o'clock in the morning.
We have
Thank you.
that scheduled.
Okay, thank you.
And my 84-year-old mother told me today, I don't have to vote till August, correct? I said, no, Mom. It starts tomorrow, and you have to vote by May 5th.
Okay, we'll have 2 minutes to introduce yourself. I'll start with Ms. Cook. Okay?
Hi, I'm Connie Cook, and I am running for the county clerk position. I decided several years ago, if Beth Johnson ever retired, that would be an office that I would run for. I have had, since 1999, I've had 9 years of government accounting also worked in the county audit with the comptroller division. So within that time frame, I have been able to audit and review county clerks. I have also been a part of a couple of fraud cases that I've had to report. I say that because if you don't have that experience, that could be a case that someone that does not have experience would know to have in control your internal controls. But after the county audit, I went into deputy director at Anderson County. I also had served as a finance director at Roane County. I have learned what the process is for the budgets. I've also learned how year-end closing and what to look for, what the auditors look for. I know the internal controls, the segregation of duties that the clerks must have. Also, I have that understanding of when the revenue has come in, how many days it has to be posted. I know that Beth will be also taking with her, with retirement, the 2 finance ladies. They will take with them about almost 100 years of experience with them. It will take a strong leader to hire somebody or see the cross-training of the current employees at the clerk to maintain those positions.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Keaton Bowman, and I am your Republican candidate to be your next Roane County clerk. And let me just say, it's good to be in Rockwood tonight. I grew up right here in Rockwood, and I am the son of Tom Bowman and my stepmother up there, Charlotte Bowman. Thank you all for being here tonight. Some of my biggest supporters here. I grew up here, like I said. I graduated, and I furthered my education once more and went to Roane State Community College, where after graduating my associate's degree, I got my bachelor's degree from East Tennessee State University in Johnson City. And for the last 11 years, after I made the decision to come home, I've managed a private business here in Rockwood. Now, you might be asking, what does that have to do with the county clerk's office? The county clerk's office is the front door to the courthouse in many respects. Most people, really everyone, will have to deal with the county clerk's office at some point or another. Like Ms. Cook said earlier, our current clerk, Miss Beth Johnson, is retiring here, and she is taking her finance people with her. This is an opportunity, folks, to say what Mayor Cresswell said earlier. We are on the cusp of a lot of changes here in Roane County, and it's time that we have the opportunity to elect a bold leader that can not only run the county clerk's office, but can bring it to the next level. Beth and her staff have done a fine job here. I'm looking to build off that foundation and move it forward. With that being said here, until I was about 20 years old, I never went to Kingston to get my tags. I got them right here in City Hall. That's one of my goals, if I'm elected as your next county clerk, is reintroducing the satellite offices. Along with that, I believe we have to get with the times, ladies and gentlemen. They now have mobile kiosks that we can put around the county that are 24-hour-a-day 7 days a week. So that way you all don't have to be waiting around to take time off work. Sorry to go over my time.
Thank you. What is your definition of good service and how they would organize the workload?
We ready? My definition of good service is I've been in the people business my entire adult life. And that's being able to look somebody in the eye and while always not giving them the answer they want, be truthful. Lead them in a direction that can get them to the answer that they want. And you have to prioritize the workload here. That's where having the staff, they have to have a strong leader that gives clear directions on not only what the work is, but how the work is to be done and how the workload is to be divvied up. I can tell you this, Keaton Bowman is your next county clerk. I'll be a working clerk. I would never ask one of the deputy clerks to do a job that I would not do myself. That's how I was raised. I've never been too good to do any job.
A good service is being on time for your citizens to open that office at 8 o'clock. I have seen some offices open 5 minutes late. Everybody is in a rush to get to work. A good service is surveying maybe possibly the times to start. I know Beth had some long hours on Monday. Maybe that's something we could look at so that we can extend the hours to make it more feasible to our citizens. It was a productive, right? You have to assess each and every one that is employed in the county clerk. You have to look at the strong points and you have to look at their weaknesses. There's always the cross-training. Sometimes you might be the only person that takes in the tags and somebody comes in for marriage's license. Well, if you don't have someone in the office for marriage license and you don't do that cross-training, you're going to end up causing someone to lose 5 minutes of their time or maybe even 30 minutes. So you have to always learn your staff, always cross-train no matter what it is, whether it's from taking tags or even working in the back at the finance. But first thing first is make sure your citizens come in with everything that they need and they leave with a smile on their face.
How would you maintain the confidentiality and security of the information you work with?
We always have our books are within the front office. There are some things that I would like to change, that we don't keep things out in the open when they're sitting at the desk. I'd like to make rearrangements of those confidential informations that might be sitting on the desk. But we would keep it confidential within the office. Our staff would be instructed what is confidential, what is not supposed to be shared.
First off, my staff will follow all laws and procedures pertaining to that. That is your all's business in here, private business. So it needs to be safeguarded and well respected. You know, that's the same thing. I deal with finances every day with individual accounts. I make sure that only I see them, so that way they are safeguarded. My staff will always know that there's to be no talking, no loose lip about anything in particular that goes on. Now, if we want to go in and evaluate them and see what procedures work, if there needs to be a change, I'm willing to do that. But we're dealing with adults here. We all know what we can and can't do. And it's all about running a professional office and making sure that the customer is satisfied when they leave.
What aspect of the county clerk position do you find most appealing?
Really, that is a really good question, because the county clerk's office has a variety of responsibilities. You know, not only do you come there just to get your tags and titles and renewals, marriage license, beer permits, business license, you're also the recording secretary for the county commission. You record their votes and make sure that they are published and ready to go. It's a public record. You know, one thing that I think we have to look forward to with a new clerk coming in is we all have to work together in this courthouse if we want to move forward here. like I said, we are at a crossroad here of growth and what Roane County can look like in the next 10 years, 20 years. You know, I've got friends in here that have kids, and we have to make sure that we do better for them and provide more opportunities. But if you would like me to answer the question, I would say I really enjoy the commission work. Thank you.
Working full-time, 40 hours a week, does not give me much time to get down here to campaign as much as I would like to. But I had the opportunity one day last week, actually it was on the 10th, to stand in the county clerk's office and just observe and get reacquainted with some of the ladies I worked with. But to be able to actually sit and see an elderly lady slowly walk up to get her driver's license and sit there with her, holding her up, just to be a part of a citizen, to give them that freedom. Lord only hopes that I can be 80-something years old and still get my driver's license. But to be a part of the county clerk and to be a servant and not a politician, I think the Lord has put me in this position. He has given me the education that I need to help anybody within that office, whether it be whatever finance maybe that they have. It's not just has to be the county clerk. So I have strong points for that, but I really, the strongest one and think that I would really enjoy most is just being part of the community.
How many people have you managed in 2025?
2025,
That's what it says.
yep. At CAT, I had one person underneath me.
We would say 3.
Okay, I'm just asking the question.
Go
You're
right
fine.
ahead. You're good.
What's your practice for managing, motivating, and mentoring a strong team to lead this county in your office?
I am a leader. I am not one that will sit in the sleigh and crack the whip. Keaton said it before, I do not expect any of my people to do a task that I am not capable of doing. Both of us here, we do not have that current experience in the county clerk. So there's going to be learning. There's going to be a little bit of them pulling us. But in the end, it will be me pulling them as to getting educated as their self. I have a bachelor degree in accounting, and I have 2 certificates from the state. There are certificates, the COCTP. There are 0 county employees in that office that do not have that. There are incentives to get that. So my encouragement to them would to get that certificate, and then there's other certificates that they can get as well with incentives from the county. So it will be to encourage them to always continue to learn. I am a leader of that since 1999. I have taken anywhere between 16 and 32 hours of CPE classes every year. That keeps me up on ethics, it keeps me up on HR, it keeps me up on just being a leader, and plus what is going on in GASB and in the government aspect. So since 1999, I want to bring all of that education that I have to bring to my staff. If Lord willing, I am your next county clerk.
I'm going to touch on what I said earlier. I will never ask someone to do something that I am not willing to do myself. What that looks like here, you have to have someone that is motivated to come in there and to push results and success. It is about building a team and a culture that allows for us to not only sustain what we are doing now, but push forward to the next level. Like I said, folks, we already have a great foundation built. The staff does a great job there. What I'm looking to do is build off of the success, what has already been given, and move it forward here. One thing that I've knocked on a lot of doors, a lot. People care about their time and accessibility. So if I can make it one step easier for you all, and let's get with some times here. Reopen the satellite offices. Use the mobile kiosk here. This is a constitutional office here. We have to follow the laws and the structures of which they're confined in. But what you all will not get is someone who's lazy in me. I am ready for this challenge. I'm qualified, I'm educated, and I am ready to lead this county as your next Roane County clerk. To close out here, early voting starts tomorrow, April 15th, and runs through April 30th. Primary election day is May 5th. I want you all to ask yourself the question, do you all think I'm worthy to be your next county clerk? I've put in the work. I've put in the hours. We've invested the money. That question is up to you all. Thank you all so much. Thank you to Rockwood 2000 for hosting this tonight. God bless you all, and I hope to see you all at the polls tomorrow.
Thank you. I want to thank Roane 2000 for having this event. It's very important. We are coming up on a primary that is going to start tomorrow, runs from April the 15th through April the 30th. Election day is May 5th. We can't say that enough, just for the simple reason that most folks say, hey, August will be here before you know it. And my election as the sheriff candidate will be held in May the 5th. So a little bit of my background. I'm from Oliver Springs, graduated high school there. My wife and I have been together almost 31 years, and she's my biggest supporter here today, and I appreciate her being here. I've got various staff members in the audience here that are part of my team at the sheriff's office. And going back to where I graduated high school, Oliver Springs, on the other end of the county. Had a great career in. This is the first time I'm getting a little nervous because I got everybody looking at me, but my background is law enforcement. I've been in law enforcement 31 years. I have graduated high school at Oliver Springs, went to Roane State Community College, and got my associate's degree. Started in 1995 in law enforcement, and I have worked my way through every position in law enforcement, from patrol, the jail. I've been a detective in the drug unit. I've ran the patrol division. I'm currently serving as the chief deputy at the sheriff's office in half of the last 20 years. I have been able to manage the patrol division, the jail, the courts. We've got 16 campuses that we're required to manage through the school system with the SRO program. I can go to work day one.
Say the same thing. Thanks for everybody for being here. I'm David Laxton. I'm asking for your vote for sheriff here in Roane County. A little bit about myself. I'm from Harriman. My wife here, she's from Rockwood. I graduated from Harriman High School. From there, I went on to Roane State and graduated with an associate's degree. After that, I went on to continue my education at Liberty University and got my bachelor's degree. Been in law enforcement. This will be going on my 27th year, so a little over 25 years I've been in law enforcement. Same as Mr. Phillips, I've worked everything from patrol. I've worked all the way up through the ranks of supervisor. We've managed an SRO division at Oliver Springs. I've worked with an FBI task force, been on several drug task force. Done a real good job in my career, and it led me up to now my position as being the chief of police in the #1 position. One of the things I'd like to say that, I've done in my career is I've been a servant. I have a servant's heart. So much so that my family kind of felt like that this is a calling for them. I'm third generation law enforcement here in Roane County. We have always served to help people. It's what I believe in. So when I kind of started this as the chief, one of the things I want to do is get more involved in the community. We're one of the only agencies in the area with a community engagement trailer. We go around to all the schools. We go to a lot of functions. We try to break down that barrier between law enforcement and, the community. We want y'all to think that we're approachable. We're trying to really attack that. With that, after that, we come up with a grant with the Department of Justice and started what's called a community resilience team. My officers are going out in the community. They're meeting with mental health consumers. They're trying to figure out what their issues are and go ahead and, kind of knock down that barrier to where they know that the officers are approachable, trying to knock down the issues before they even happen. That being said, that brings me to my next thing. That's why I believe in proactive law enforcement. I believe going out there and preventing the crime from happening. I don't want you to call me and say, hey, my house has been broke into. I want to call you and say, hey, we had a burglar in your area. We prevented it from happening. So if elected sheriff, those are the things I'm going to bring to Roane County.
Is Roane County the only county that will not allow SROs to build comp time to take off during school breaks?
I do know that a lot of the area sheriff's departments, I believe including our own here at Roane County, allows them to build comp time. One of the issues I've seen with comp time is whether you max it out or not, what your kind of your ceiling on it is. Some of your agencies kind of have a lower comp time range, because what happens is when your SROs decide to quit, take another job somewhere else, it's kind of a huge hit on your budget. You know, they've built up 200 or 300 hours to be able to take off the summer. Financially, it takes a big hit. However, one of the big draws to being an SRO, it's a tough job. You're Monday through Friday, you know, dealing with kids all day long, whether it's in elementary school all the way through high school, dealing with the new cultures. One of the reasons that you want to take that job as an SRO is to have those holidays. I know we recruit a lot for SRO positions from retired law enforcement. They know the game, they know what they're looking for, they know what the threat is, and those are the best ones to have in your schools to keep your kids safe. That being said, that is the perk of having that job, is being able to have holidays off with your family, watching your grandkids grow up, watching your kids grow up. So I do feel like that they need enough hours to be able to take the summer off, take holidays off, and stay specialized in juvenile law.
So, everything we do is structured around school safety. We want to make sure that the officers are present in the schools. That's the primary reason for having the school resource officers. And I'm proud to say that in the last 18 years, we've partnered with the Roane County schools, and we have overseen the security for the schools for the last 18 years. Prior to that, I was the assistant police chief at Harriman, and we managed the school resource officers for Harriman. And under the leadership of Sheriff Jack Stockton, when he got elected in 2006, the school board approached him and asked if we would take over the school security program to get everybody on the same sheet of music, to where we're doing the same lockdown drills, the same emergency planning across the board. So it's not different whether you're in Oliver Springs, whether you're in Harriman, whether you're in Rockwood, whether you're in Midtown or Midway. So we're on the same sheet of music when it comes to emergency preparedness. As far as being able to build comp time, initially, prior to Governor Lee's initiative, the school board provided 70% of our funding, and the county provided 30% of that funding. The state of Tennessee now funds that program with a $1.3 million price tag that comes to us, and it doesn't come out of our local tax money. So we're able to provide school resource officers, and that money that they were spending is going to other items. I will say that doing the comp time does help on the overtime budgets, because they're doing the football games, the basketball games, now they're doing soccer. There's so many events that the SRO is responsible for covering, and we're trying to do that at little or no cost to the school board and do it within the confines of our budget. That's part of what I do for the county, is manage the operating budget, and we do allow comp time.
Why is the turnover rate so bad? And what's going to be done to keep deputies and raise morale?
Absolutely. I think your employees are your most important part of your organization. And not everybody that gets into this line of work is able to do it. Just because you want to do it and you get into it doesn't mean you're cut out for it. So there's some folks that get into this line of work, whether it's corrections, I've got court officers, I've got school officers, I've got road deputies. Not everybody's cut out to do this job. And when you look at, I've been doing it 31 years, and when you look at what this job pays, you don't get in this profession for the money. I started my first full-time job. I made $17,200 a year. Wow, I'm still here 31 years later as a law enforcement officer. So fast forward to now, we're paying our school resource officers in the neighborhood of $55,000. Our correctional staff is over $50,000. We have made great strides with the partnerships that we've built with the county commission. You've heard from most of the county commissioners in here, and we've got a working relationship with that 15 panel of commissioners and the county executive. Under the county executive's leadership and the county commission, we've gotten one of the biggest raises we've ever gotten, and that has helped stability. Our turnover rate, we're fully staffed in the jail. We've got 6 full-time officers in the courts, and patrol, we've got 1 open position. We've got 2 people in the police academy, so we're doing our due diligence and making sure not just to fill the positions, but to fill them with the right people. We don't want just a heartbeat. We want people that want to serve the public and do the job that we're called to do. And it's not an easy job, because if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. And it's not. And we're looking for the most qualified people to work at the sheriff's office, and we're going to do that.
So the kind of tactic I use is quite simple. I do it with experience. What would I have wanted to do when I was a patrol officer? What would I have wanted done for me when I was a sergeant? It's kind of what I try to do. I try to remember what it was like being that patrol officer, trying to be a supervisor, trying to be a detective, narcotics, all these different things. What did I want my supervisors doing back then? I feel like coming up through law enforcement, it was pretty tough. There was a lot of things that I felt was kind of shortfall with me. A lot of training, a lot of equipment that I could have used in the beginning of my career. I didn't get it. That being said, I take my new officers and I try to do as much as I can for them when they're young, they're first getting in and they're first learning. One of the things I tell people is I'm the chief of one of the smallest towns in Roane County, but I believe that I have one of the most dependable police departments around, and we have the most to offer. So when you take the officers that want to stick around, you need to get them that training by sending them to, Desert Snow, sending them to interdiction schools, sending them to specialized fingerprinting schools, special weapons and tactics. Right now, we have the only Roane County-based SWAT team around. That being said, these officers are getting to train every month. They're getting to spend 8 hours a month together training in these kind of combat situations. It's building up morale. It's building up trust with each other. These officers are feeling safer. Well, that being said, we have a tough job, but the safer you feel doing that job, the more confident you are to stay and do it. So when we give them the equipment they need, they have full SWAT gear, they have full patrol gear, they have the weapons they need, they have the training they need, and they're using this equipment every month, they feel safe, they feel confident, and allows them to do a better job.
Is the sheriff's department hiring? Question. You don't have to answer that.
We're always looking for great people to serve.
We're hiring for sheriff right now.
Okay, I got you. What are your plans to address the public's concern on traffic enforcement?
So this is an easy topic for me. Everybody's heard of Oliver Springs. Be careful when you go through there. Well, the reason that is we believe in proactive law enforcement. It starts with traffic, it starts with the people, and it starts talking with the community. Our judges in our court system knows that we're out there being proactive. I believe we have a very partial, very community-oriented judge. He knows what we're doing. But the thing is when our blue lights are on, people are abiding by the law. They're staying safe, and they're being careful. I believe in getting in the community. I believe in getting out there and letting officers do their jobs, and we will deal with anything that we come across. That being said, we have had some awesome numbers that come from that. It has drove our overdose deaths down to 0. It has drove our burglaries numbers almost to 0. Our traffic fatalities are 0. These are things that everybody are looking for. I know a lot of people traveling through Oliver Springs don't like it, but my community loves it. They said that they have felt the safest they have in a long time. And I feel like that we can work with our community partners. We can talk to the leaders of where the issues are. We can talk with the Highway Patrol. We can talk with the TBI, get them all in this area and start being active and, have our presence being seen. I know of just a fatality right over here on Caney Creek Road. There was a gentleman that had a wreck and got run over. When that happened, there's a lot more resources to bring in to try and solve these kind of crimes. I would like to see that these things don't go unsolved and these families are hurt and they don't get to see, true justice for their family.
I'm going to answer that, but I'm going to say this. The sheriff's office and the sheriff is a constitutional position, and there's 4 statutory duties of a sheriff, and the number 1 statutory duty is providing safety for the public. Number 2 is serving the jails and the civil process, and number 4 is running the courts. So we provide security in the courts. our main focus, when we took office in 2006, our main focus was to get out in the communities and do our patrols and answer our calls for service. Because when you call wanting law enforcement, you want them there. So putting them in the communities is what we try to do. And if somebody is speeding, running a stop sign, whatever the case may be, we enforce all laws. We don't pick and choose what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. However, we're going to put our people in the communities that serve their need. And that's the thing. We have been at the sheriff's office for 20 years. I've been there for 20 years. And the working relationship that we have with the community and doing the proactive things have kept us in office. When I say us, I came into office in 2006 with the sheriff, and he's been a 5-term sheriff. The last 2 terms he's been unopposed. So I think we have gotten a great foundation, and we've done some things right, and we're looking to build on the foundation of what we already have in place and continue those practices and keeping the people safe, whether it's answering a call for service, whether it's writing a ticket for speeding, or whether it's writing a ticket for a stop sign violation, or if it's just merely getting out and doing our extra patrols, because I'd rather you have an officer in your neighborhood doing the patrols than out here on the highway writing tickets.
Will you be using the county jail for state time convictions? There's quite a backlog for entrance into state prison.
I will do my best to answer that question. The great thing about my experience is I've helped run the jail for the last 20 years. My jail administrator sitting in here on the back row, he's a native from Rockwood, just giving that shout out to Rockwood. We've got great leaders in those positions, and there again, we can't do our jobs without the people that are helping us with our team. So the jail inmates, we don't get to decide who gets to stay and who gets to go. That's the courts. If they say, hey, they're convicted to Tennessee Department of Correction time, depending on whether they're a split confinement or if they've been sentenced to 10 years, that determines whether or not they go to prison. And that system is done, it's called TOMAS. It's a TOMAS system that logs that data, and the state of Tennessee sends that information to us. I've got my director of programs in here that manages the TDOC list. So if they got less than a year to do, they're probably going to do that in the county jail. And by them doing that in the county jail, the state does pay the county, and we do have revenue. There was a period of time where the county jail got a little overcrowded, and part of what the county commission did to alleviate that overcrowding is tell the state of Tennessee, we don't want to house any more state prisoners no longer than we have to. But that cut about $2 million out of revenue that the county was getting. But when it comes to the sentence, we don't get to decide how long they get to stay, where they get to stay. If we get an after trial minimus for them to come to jail, we house them. It's like a bank. You deposit them, and when it's time for them to leave, they get withdrawn. So it's an easy process.
Yeah, it's kind of like what he's saying when it comes to the state inmates. There's a lot of counties that are set up politically that they survive on the money that comes from the state by housing these inmates. So what you have to do is decide how many county inmates you have, how many state, and how many federal. You kind of run a balancing, act with that, like running a hotel. You're deciding, I've got this many beds, I think we're going to arrest this many people this weekend, possibly this week from jail. And you try to keep from getting overcrowded, but at the same point in time, you're trying to bring in revenue for the county to reimburse yourselves for these inmates. I know politically that if you're running full, you can pick up the phone and call TDOC and say, hey, look, I need to get my numbers down. I need you to take more state inmates. They will cooperate with you. A lot of times it comes politically when you say, hey, I want to keep in as many as I can and try and help my budget. They will work with you back and forth a little bit like that.
Next question was, do we have access to state health care for inmates in county jail?
That's not just a yes or no, so
You're starting, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that is not something I have a whole lot of expertise in. That's going to be one of the things that I need to learn becoming the next sheriff. I do know that there are programs that the sheriff's department, kind of contracts with for healthcare, but when it comes to actual, insurance, I'm not very familiar with that.
I have 20 years of experience at managing the inmate health care, whether it's the health care within the jail, the billing part of it, because when we took over, the inmates were being taken to the ER, just wherever to get medical care, and there was no rhyme or reason. We had correctional officers passing meds, which is a high liability and frowned upon. So when we took over, we got it worked out to where we have 24/7 nursing. We've got doctors on staff, and that cuts down on the liability of the sheriff's office in the county. We're in a high liability profession to begin with. 70% of your liability in the sheriff's office comes out of the jail. There's a lot of, we book in and book out about 5,500 people a year. And with the health care, we're responsible for maintaining their level of health, whether they've got cancer, whether they've got HIV, whether they just got a simple cold. And we've got protocols in place with our nursing. Everybody comes in that's going to stay more than 5 minutes, they're getting a 14-day physical. That's mandated by TCI. If you got a pregnant lady, they go through the same doctor's appointments that they would if they were on the outside at the cost of the taxpayer. And we do everything to keep them in good health because we don't want anybody dying in custody. And as far as like the billing and things like that, before, if the bill was $10,000, they just pay $10,000. We've got a company that scrubs our bills generally at a Medicare rate or cheaper than Medicare rate, better than what we can do by ourselves, just managing the billing process. So they're saving us money. Like where I'd go in for a broke leg, it cost me $5,000. They've got a pre-negotiated price of $1,000. So we're saving taxpayers money. I'm a taxpayer. So with the medical and the billing part of it, we've been saving money for 20 years.
If elected sheriff, you're first. If elected sheriff, what are your goals for the sheriff's office?
When I get elected sheriff, I plan on being approachable and remembering the people that put me in office. I don't come from a law enforcement background. I don't have any family that's in law enforcement. I don't have any family that's in politics. I didn't get here by anything but hard work. Success does not happen on accident. I have worked my tail off since I was 20 years old. I started this profession when I was 20. I was a kid. I'll be 52 this year. I have served this county for the last 28 years with every bit of my being. I'm going to continue to do that as the sheriff. The big thing about being the sheriff, people's like, well, you're in charge of everything. Absolutely not. I'm responsible. As a law enforcement officer of this county, I'm responsible. My phone don't get turned off. I'm on call 24/7. You know, and every law enforcement officer that is in this room tonight, whether they're active law enforcement or they're former law enforcement, they know what we go through. And as the sheriff, there's one person, well, there's two people that are retiring. The sheriff and my training lieutenant. And one of the things that I'm going to do whenever I take office is we're going to start hosting training at the Roane County Sheriff's Office. We're going to do some things a little bit different. I'm going to invest in our people. I want to leave this place better than I found it. And I want to be able to see the next sheriff. I need to train my replacement. That's what Jack Stockton's doing. He's trained me to be his replacement. And I want to train my replacement. I want somebody that wants to serve the public and do a great job. And I want to be the next Roane County Sheriff's. And with your all's vote, I can do that.
What I would like to say is, you know, if y'all will give me the chance to elect me a sheriff, a lot of things I'm going to change is bringing back compassion to the sheriff's office. We need people that are going to come out and come to you when you've had at your biggest time of need. This is going to be your worst day, your worst moment in your life when you call upon the sheriff's office. We're going to come to you with compassion. We're going to see your needs, and we're going to help you where we can. I feel like law enforcement has gotten a bad name for itself over the years as not being approachable. I want all of us to be approachable. I don't feel like that we need to be in such a bad lie that we are ruining relationships between all of our local agencies, between our fire, police, and EMS. We all have one mission. We all need to be working together. I'm going to build these relationships back up. It's what I kind of started with our SWAT team. We don't have one based in Roane County. We started doing such a good job that Harriman called us and have joined in with our SWAT team. We now have a multi-agency SWAT team that covers Oliver Springs and Harriman. We have done such a good job with the training. the things that we're able to do, that Kingston is now negotiating the same MOU with us. We're spreading. If I get the chance to be your next sheriff and y'all elect me, then I will bring all this to Roane County. We'll all bring everybody back together and enjoy our lives.
Would you back an advisory board of citizens to review any complaints lodged against the actions of any law enforcement officer within the department? If so, how would that board be created and function?
It is always good to have public oversight. We do that right now, currently at the Oliver Springs Police Department. We have a council that's made up of our citizens. We have a mayor that's made up out of our citizens. That is who I have to respond to now in the number one position as being the chief of police. So when we have a complaint, they can basically pull an inquisitory committee and to see what kind of complaint we have, what kind of issues. That being said, we could have a board like that looks into any kind of issues if you give us a chance here at the sheriff's office to be your next sheriff. I believe in having, oversight from the community. I've operated it my whole career that way, working in law enforcement. We need your input. We need your thoughts. If we were able to create a committee like that, we would kind of compile it from, people from every community based on talking with the county mayor, talking with the county commission, getting representatives of each community, and also having as well as law enforcement partners, because a lot of the case laws that are out there says that it comes from the officer's point of view at that moment, at that time. We need to kind of help walk you through what the officers were seeing, what the issue was, and all come to an agreement whether the officer was in the good or was in the bad. We have open transparency and open accountability to everyone in this room.
Thank you.
When it comes to dealing with law enforcement officers and the policies and procedures that govern us and what we do in the community, we're here to serve the people in the community, and we want to make sure that we have their buy-in. We want their involvement, and as far as making a board up, saying, well, we're going to let these people have a decision in how people are disciplined and things like that, I don't think is a good idea, in my opinion. The feedback from the citizens, I think, is very important. We have one of the strictest and toughest policy and procedures in Roane County, and to the point that I think a couple of other agencies have put that into place in their agencies. And our policies are defined by federal law, state law, and best practices. And it's not just one person's decision in our agency if somebody does something incorrect. If somebody comes in and files a formal complaint on an officer, we've got an extensive process that it goes through, all the way even up to an IA investigation in the event that an officer has done something or they're accused of doing something improper. And if somebody needs to be fired, we've formed a board within the organization, and everybody that has been hired and or fired goes through that process. It's not just one person. So if somebody commits some kind of policy violation, if it's something that we can correct, we're for correcting that and learning from that mistake. If it's something that we have to say, hey, you're in the wrong line of work to be doing this and you're not cut out to do this job, we'll certainly fire folks that need to be fired. But as far as having citizens in the community being on the board to decide whether people get hired and fired, I don't know that that's something that I'd have to have more information on that. So,
Would you support having an annual presentation to residents outlining the past year's accomplishments and challenges and plans for the future?
Absolutely. We got neighborhood watch programs now, and we kind of do that in a sense with our neighborhood watch programs in the community that we do throughout the county. And that's one of the things that we do pride ourselves on is our community watch programs. So having the interaction with them, being able to give a report, I think that's an awesome idea. And one of the things that we were able to do is we've got an app that we put into place, and it's basically getting information out to the citizen. Everything from Mr. Brad here from BBB Communications, we've made it easier for him to see who is incarcerated. So things that we need to put out to the public and notifications that the public can receive to be updated on what's going on in the community has been great. Everything from, like, if we've got an active event, up on the interstate. We're trying to keep people from going there. Just kind of a mass kind of notification system. It's good for doing that. It's got a weather system on it that gives weather notifications in the event we've got bad weather. If we want to push some kind of notification out, it lets us do that, whether it's an event that we're holding or something's going on in one of the parts of the county. So being open to the public and transparent and getting that information out there is important.
Yeah, so that's an easy one for me to answer. We already do it. I report every month of every single thing we do at the Oliver Springs Police Department to my council and to my mayor. We're also accountable putting that in as part of the public record. You can go down City Hall, you have every activity, every arrest, every stop, every statistic we have completely. One of the other things that we push citizens to do is go ahead and look at the TBI website. We have our clearance rates already published with the TBI. It's showing right now that we're averaging between 8 and 9 crimes out of 10 is solved with an arrest. You can look up any agency on this website and see how they're doing. This is kind of our grade card. It'll tell you how many arrests we've had, how many have went solved, how many have went unsolved, how many DUI arrests we have. We hold this accountability already right now, given to the public anytime you ask.
How many people did you manage in the year 2025?
Full-time and part-time, about 121 staff members.
Thank you. 2025.
Full staff, managed up to 22 when we had dispatch. Numbers have kind of fallen. We actually kind of farmed out our dispatch now, and we range from 13 to 16.
How do you address Rockwood's reputation as an unsafe, the most unsafe city to live in?
So I wouldn't categorize Rockwood in that kind of light. It's one of those things that what I want to bring to this area is proactive law enforcement. I feel like we can get with the leaders of Rockwood, offer our services, work together, and kind of combat these issues, whether it's coming in from narcotics, mental health being one of the biggest ones, traffic, any kind of situational crimes when it follows any kind of your gang members, any of your kind of trafficking issues. There's not anything that I don't have experience with in solving the issues. I feel like that I was able to identify the problems in my area very quickly, and we solved them very fast. I feel like Rockwood would be the same. We can come in, see what the citizen complaints are, where the police department says the problems are. We can have it solved with them very quickly.
I don't think that's a true statement. I think Rockwood is a great place. I come down here 2 or 3 times a week and eat either at Pop's Pizza and Mimi's. I don't hesitate to come here. We've got a working relationship with Rockwood Police Department. If they need help, we come and help them, vice versa. I don't think that Rockwood's an unsafe place. And if, we work well with Chief Pittman and his staff, and for somebody to say they think that that's the unsafest place in Rockwood, I don't agree with it. But we are here to help. If the mayor of Rockwood or the chief of police of Rockwood calls the Roane County Sheriff's Office, I don't care what time of day, and they need help with any kind of problem, we're coming, period.
I'm going to ask this. I think it's a one-word answer, so I will ask it because it is a question. I think you're first. If you're elected to the sheriff's office, will it be your full-time job?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you. What inspired you to run for this office?
So this is something I've been thinking of for quite a while. I feel like it's always kind of been in my blood to help people. Like I told you, I have a servant's heart. And being someone that grew up in Harriman, I've lived in Kingston, I've lived in Rockwood, currently live off Galahar Road, which, is basically Kingston, but it's actually zoned Oak Ridge. I've moved all over Roane County. I really enjoy the people. I've met a lot of great people over the years, but the one thing that I hate all the time is someone calling me and saying, "Hey, David, I need help. What would you do?" I'm like, "Look, I'm a chief in Oliver Springs. I can't come down here and help you." This is that avenue to help these people when they call. It really breaks my heart to not be able to do more. And so I feel like running for this position with the sheriff retiring is one of the things that I've thought about a lot. With the support of my wife and my family, they felt like it's the best decision for me, and so I'm jumping forward and running for sheriff.
I hope I can answer this in 2 minutes.
You can.
You're going to make sure of that, right? So You know, a lot of times you don't see things in yourself, and I'm going to go back to 1999, and whenever Jack Stockton took over the Harriman Police Department as the police chief, and when he took over, he said, "This is what I expect out of you folks, you men and women that work here, and those of us that stood by and done everything that we were asked to do and told to do." He come to me and pulled me aside and says, "I've been watching you and you're going to do great things. I've seen your work ethic and I see what you have to offer." Sometimes you don't see that in yourself, but he saw something in me in 1999, July 1st of 1999. And fast forward to now, I have been able to mentor people, lead people, and I have been able to help progress the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office, when we took over in 2006, is different than what it is today. We've brought in technology. We've got in-car cameras, body-worn cameras. We have given our deputies every piece of equipment that we could give them to make their job easier, because we've done it without adding people to patrol. So we've always done more with less. And that's part of why I'm in the position that I've been in for the last 23 years for the sheriff. I've been his second in command because I've been able to help bring that leadership to the sheriff's office and bring these programs with the help of our staff and making Roane County Sheriff's Office the best agency. And I don't just say that. I've got proof to back that up, and by the hard work and the effort our team has put forth. I can't do it by myself. It's a team effort. So you'll be electing a team with over 200 years of law enforcement.
Why should voters trust you to represent their interests every day?
I've been a public servant my entire life, and I know that you hear that a lot with folks that are running for office. I've never ran for office. I've been a worker. I've been that person on the front lines day in and day out doing the jobs that the average person wouldn't do or couldn't do. You know, we've had some tragedy in our county, and I don't take any of that lightly, but whenever something happens, we're on the front lines. You know, we unfortunately had a shooting in Midtown, and there's 4 people sitting in this room that were probably the first 5 people there within 2 minutes of this call. So we're doing things the average person doesn't do or wouldn't do. And as the sheriff, I'm still going to do that, because there's not a switch that you turn off saying, well, I'm the sheriff now, I don't do those things anymore. I'm geared different. We're all geared different. If you've been in law enforcement more than 5 minutes, you're geared different. If you've been in law enforcement for as long as we have, you're here for the right reasons, and I'm here for the right reasons. And to be the next sheriff, I don't take that lightly. That's a big responsibility, and the people here at the county gets to decide that. It's not a police chief and a mayor saying, hey, you're the police chief. It's 58,000 people. I don't think that many is going to come to vote. I wish they would. I wish everybody in Roane County that was registered to vote would show up. But it's the people's decision on who the next sheriff's going to be. And I'm asking for everybody's vote. I'm the most qualified to lead the sheriff's office. I can start day one, and I will work for the people.
The best thing I can say is the reason you trust me is I have already been voted into office. I know Mr. Phillips just said that it takes a mayor and somebody appointing you to police chief. Well, that's to be an interim police chief. Your representatives are your county commission or your city council. I was voted in chief of police unanimously by all 6 members of my council. You've seen council members and you've seen county commissioners. They don't agree on anything. They half vote this way, half vote that way. Well, they seen my work for the past 20 years and they voted unanimously to make me the chief of police. I'm going to prove to you that I'm going to be the same way. You can trust me. You can come to me with your problems. I have been working for the people already. I've already been tested and I've been proven true. If you've got any questions for me, you can approach me anytime. I'll help you any way I can, and I will be glad to be your next sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that does conclude the questions for everybody. Let me say a few things. Of course, you know they're public servants. I know you're tired of hearing that. But no matter who you support, Voting matters. Voting matters. If you're in this room tonight, you know it matters. Spread the word. I'm honored to have been asked to read the questions. It was fun. You're here because of Rockwood 2000, so you probably should give them a hand. Thank you, too. Thank you, too. I know campaigning is hard. Thank you.